Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the misnamed Inflation Reduction Act, I call it the Income Reduction Act, provided $27 billion for a Green New Deal bank that the EPA is administrating. I asked one of your senior advisors, Mr. Zeeland Hoover, if he could guarantee that none of that $27 billion would wind up going to China. And his response was that that answer is a little more complicated rather than give me a simple yes or no. Is that, do you think that question is too complicated?
What I would say is that the program is designed for all of that money to be invested domestically.
Yeah, it's designed for that, but that's not the question. It's a simple yes or no. So will any of that money wind up going to China, any of its affiliates, any of its manufacturers?
The program is designed.
No, sir, it's a yes or
it
no.
To be no, it's not a yes or no
yes,
question.
it is, because we already know that
if someone
No,
inappropriately invests money and it gets to China, there will be repercussions to that.
No,
So the
well,
program is designed
China
for domestic
controls 70% of the cobalt, 75% of the world's lithium-ion battery megafactories are in China. They control the refining of 68% of the nickel, 59% of the lithium, 73% of the cobalt. There is no way that you can say that none of that money will wind up in China, because we can't make that stuff without parts from China. We don't process critical minerals or rare earths over here to any great degree. We don't have a major refinery. And as a matter of fact, there's not one in the Western Hemisphere to my knowledge. So there's no way you can say that. Let me ask you this. How much have you budgeted for the administration of that $27 billion through the EPA bank? As far as I know, the EPA never really had bankers. So how much are you spending of that $27 billion just for the administration of it?
Well, Congress allotted a very small amount of the $27 billion.
But I asked you how much you're spending. I didn't ask you how much Congress allotted.
We're only spending what Congress allotted for us to use for the program.
Okay, we'd like for you to give us a hard number on that. I'd like to ask you something else. This report's 9 years old, but there was a report from Open the Books about the number of special agents that the EPA hired, the weapons that they're provided with. At that point, you had stockpiled over 600 guns, 500,000 rounds of ammunition. You had a whole host of military equipment, camouflage and other deceptive equipment, night vision, passenger troop transport vehicles, unmanned aircraft, and some pretty large caliber artillery type shells, anti-tank type shells. Do you still have that?
You read off a huge list of things that I
Do
don't
you have any military style weapons?
I don't have an inventory. In fact, we don't have any weapons that Congress has not allowed for our agents to use.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you, does the EPA possess
We can get you a
military-style
full
weapons?
accounting of the inventory of weapons that our agents
I
lawfully and
expect
legally
that.
have.
I expect that. Let me ask you this. Do you believe the EPA has the authority to make laws?
Absolutely not. We enforce laws and
Okay, let me ask
we
you
implement
this.
laws.
If you're issuing rules and guidance and someone fails to adhere to that, are there criminal penalties?
We're only issuing guidance
No.
and regulations.
You're not answering the question. I will ask another member to yield time to me if I have to, but you need to answer the question. If someone violates an EPA rule or guidance, are there criminal penalties?
Yes.
Okay, how's that different from a law?
We don't make laws.
yeah.
Congress makes laws. They give us the authority to write regulations and rules. And if you don't abide by those regulation rules, there are penalties.
The Supreme Court in EPA versus West Virginia kind of rolled that back. I know that that's hard on you guys because you really disagree with that. And if the Supreme Court does the right thing and dispenses with the Chevron deference, it's really going to fall back where it should to the people's elected representatives, instead of allowing bureaucrats at the EPA or any other federal agency to make laws that bypass Congress. And that's really what's going on here. My friend from Texas, Mr. Pfluger, will have some other questions about some of the things that are going on, particularly the methane tax and things like that. But what the EPA has done is it has grossly overstepped its bounds, and then it's enforcing these laws with armed agents that show up full body armor, weapons drawn. I know this for a fact because it happened in Dothan, Alabama, with the city waterworks. I could give you a whole list of that if you'd like for me to provide a list. So I'm very concerned. Okay, I'll tell you, it's in Alaska, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, Massachusetts, North Carolina, and like I said, Alabama.
Yes, I would.
We need to
because
look into this.
When we service these enforcement actions, we're doing it with other law enforcement agencies.
You
This
did
happens-
not do
This
it.
happens
You
time
did
and
not
time
do it
again
in
for
Alabama.
Homeland Security
You
and
did
others.
not. You could have called the U.S. Marshals, you could have called the state troopers, the local county sheriff, and you did not do it. I yield back.
Gentleman yields. The chair now.